start rendering, sorry, start fading, not rendering, sorry, start fading. Okay, equals true. Then we want to basically render this. Okay, and what we want is another function which actually sets this to true. So set start fading to true. And I'm quite literal with my function naming. Some of my function names are really long sometimes. They might be something like set start fading to true if the game has started, yes or no, or something like that, but it's really long and descriptive. Sometimes a good thing, sometimes a bad thing, but I usually do this to be quite clear. And a habit I have as well is saying where this function was called from. So this is called from awake. Okay. So we do want to call this from wake. We want to call this from time to fade, and we also want to have a start fading from which time. Extends float as well, equals, let's say it starts on 1 second by default. Okay. We want to invoke this and then call it after start fading from which time. So this function that's invoked basically is a delay function, and it will delay by this amount here, start fading from which time, and it will call this function here, this set start fading to true, which is what we've named here. So we want to basically make this start fading to true here, because it's by default it's already false. So I think we also want to start off the my material. We want to start off the alpha at 0 because we want it to be transparent in the beginning. My material dot color dot alpha equals 0. I think this should be okay now. I still need to optimize this here. Now, usually I wouldn't mind if it wasn't fully optimized, as in the code needs to be a little bit more efficient because it's just inside of the storyboard scene, it's not in the main game scene. But because I might use this script later on a different game, I should optimize it now because I might forget to optimize it later. And that script might be used in the main game scene where things have to be quite efficient and fast so that it doesn't drop below a certain frame rate. So we've got a problem here on line 1, I think it is. My material, line 1. Oh yeah, because I've not put the this var statement, variable statement here. Okay. So, you know, this is really, as I've mentioned, the development process day to day kind of works for me. I sit down, I have like an idea of what I'd like to do, and you know, I try and figure things out as I go. I'm not for these games, because the X series are quite small, and because I'm basically the main developer, it doesn't really require me to sit down and have a full plan like on paper somewhere. Or on a Word document that says, oh, this is the story, these are the, you know, the art design document, the gameplay design document, the technical design document, which are required for like very large games, especially things like MMOs. These, of course, you need to have these because all the teams need to know what's going on. But for me, you know, just working on these indie smaller games is I can do it on the fly quite fast, and I can adjust and change gameplay and have inspiration. So it's a great way to work. I love to work this way. It's a lot of fun, and I'll probably always do this, even if I've not got time to actually release games. I think it's awesome to, you know, develop in this fashion. So okay, so let me try to do this. So fade object over time. Let's try it on the first storyboard. Time to fade 1. Start fading at which point 1, and we'll see if this works. Okay, okay, it's material doesn't have, okay, so I think I've seen this problem before. So what we might do, let's just try using this one. We'll use it directly, okay? And let's just get rid of my material for a moment. Try not to use this. I might just put the renderer here later. I know this doesn't make a lot of sense perhaps to people who are maybe even sort of intermediate developers in Unity, but if there's any questions as we're going along, if you see something, obviously comment down below. Please subscribe as well, everybody. and let me know if you would like me to explain something, and I can do a tutorial video for that. So fade object over time, 0.11. What was the problem? Unexpected token. Oh, okay. Color.a. Okay. God bless debugging. If it didn't tell me this at the bottom, I'd have no idea what was going on. Things like Bill Gates and Paul Allen and Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak and things, and I read stories about, you know, the sort of code things, but I don't technically know how it works, or how Fortran is coded or something, but just the thought that there's no kind of like console like to give you feedback about a script error or something like that, and it has to be coded right, and I'm like, my God, how did they like do that? You know, I think it's amazing. I'm always kind of fascinated with early, sort of late 70s, early 80s like technology. When I watch things like the Angry Video Game Nerd episodes, I'm always watching the, you know, I'm always very interested in the ones of like kind of Pong consoles, or like the Vectrex, or the Odyssey. Some of these old consoles that like were made of wood as well. You know, I think it's just really interesting for me. So, you know, how much we've advanced over the past 30 years. Okay, so material doesn't have property color. Let me see where we're going. Render.material.color.a. Okay, so I might have to figure this one out off camera and then come back to you guys, because it's saying that doesn't have a property of color. So I think maybe there's something else in material that I'm not seeing. But there's texture. I know this with main texture dot. Okay. Okay, there's no alpha inside of the main texture, because I have previously adjusted the alpha through scripting before, like the alpha channel, which is the transparency channel. So I've just got to figure this one out and kind of come back into it. So I think let's just take a look at the scripts here. So let me just see if I can figure this one out. Mesh renderer. I want to do it. This is really useful, by the way. If you're inside of Unity, if you need to find something, definitely just tap on this, sort of the book here on the right, because you'll always need to come into this scripting library here, which is extremely useful. It's necessary. Okay, yeah, color.white. Variables. Let me just check on renderer. Okay, might be under there. It might give us an example of how to adjust the alpha over time through scripting. So, material. Change renderers material each change interval seconds from material radius. Okay, so that's so yeah, you can access the color, but it seems to be using doing it like that, as opposed to just changing the individual alpha channel. So material. All right, let's see what's under material. Yeah, the main material's color. Okay. You see, we can set the color here, which is okay, but I'd rather change it directly here, to be honest. The main material's color, the same as using get color or set color with underscore color. Okay, so okay. You see, actually, this is pretty useful, I think. If if I can't figure it out, I might just use this lerp function here, which gives you the duration, which is pretty useful. And you can lerp color over time. I've used this before. Basically, it fades from one color to another using color.lerp, and you define the time, the start color, and the end color, and that's pretty cool. So you kind of sort of flashing red, like you know, for example, if you want to flash like the red background for some kind of alert or something, then you can flash that up and down using color.lerp. Or you could use the animation curve editor, of course, which is a lot easier. Set color. So it looks like they kind of got this underscore color here. I'm wondering if that's possible. I think dot underscore. Oh, wait a second. I need to go back here. Dot underscore color dot a equals 0. I don't know if this is going to work. Let's see how that goes. If not, I can just set the color using what we saw in the script example just there. So, okay, so it's not part of the material. Okay, so I'm going to have to like figure out how to do this one. I'm actually going to go off camera and then figure this one out, then come back to it, just so you're not looking at me humming and scratching my chin on how to do it. So, but you know, stick with me, everyone, and then I'm going to, you know, for the next few videos as well, you know, we're pretty close to finishing this game, so you're going to see like how it kind of finished up and how it's going to be released, hopefully, and then you know, I think that should be interesting. Hopefully, you see the progress of it. I've always been interested in seeing like the making of movies, how it started and how things changed over time. So I'm hoping that you guys find this interesting, but also useful as well for the developers who are trying to figure things out. So, but anyway, for now, guys, I'm going to leave this video here, and I'm going to do one later, but stay tuned and happy developing, everyone.